just changed them their batteries. Who would have known? So you didn't hear any of that. I didn't say anything particularly useful, to be honest. So apart from the fact I have a Thunderfly in the screen of my Mac, which is amusing, apart from the fact it's between the glass and the actual panel. So it's going to have to go away for... yeah, no, it was batteries. It was just batteries in my mic receiver pack, which were showing us fine a second ago and then died. So they lied. And they're AnyLoop Pros. Who would have thought? They're supposed to be good, but you know, lots of things are supposed to be good and they aren't. Anyway, guys, welcome. So look, I'm going to do the stream a little bit backwards. I'm going to tell you about a few things now that I'm going to... Thunderfly is a very, 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 very tiny fly, small enough it can get in actually to your screen assembly. They're a pain in the butt. Mikey's had a problem with one of those as well. I am not the only one. So okay, I want to tell you about a few things. The next stream after this one will be on the what's the date there? 2nd of August, there you go. Be on the 2nd of August because I'm away in the States seeing Udemy on Udemy Live between now and then. So I wanted to let you know that. The next stream overall, however, will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time, so an hour earlier than this tomorrow. Do remember to set reminders on these things on our events page. It only works on mobile. That's the Meet the Mentors, only open to Tier 3 subscribers. Hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 Tier 3 subscribers rock up live with their Zoom open and their screen ready to go tomorrow. So that's that. And I'm sure you're all following us. I'm sure you're all subscribed to the level you want to be. So thank you very much for being here and being amazing. It was a great stream, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm only half kidding. That was the end of stream checklist. I thought I'd get it out of the way now. I may rerun that checklist at the actual end of the stream. But hey, why not start backwards? So, Unity RPG, here is the repo for a start. I am going to start with a branch, which is where we normally start, and I'm going to try and see if my brain works today. I've been working on Godot, so I need to close that context down, open up the right thing, which is here, and stream 10. Interesting. I thought this was stream 10, so this is clearly bogus. Stream 10. Hey, look at that. Today is episode 10, should be episode 11. Getting it all wrong today. So let's just fix this up so nobody gets confused. Good old Git keeping us honest. So this one will be episode 12, and just so we know where we are, nobody's going to get confused with the history that way. Not a problem, not too late, as I caught it nice and early. All right, so let's make a branch. That's what I do. That's how I roll these days. We need to look at all branches, otherwise this won't make any sense. Branch into stream 11. You guys can go and get that branch if you want from the link I've just given you. We have a tip jar here that the little green leaves are every time somebody follows us. The purple leaves are every time somebody subscribes or upgrades their subscription. So it's a bit of fun. That's there in the bottom. And let's crack on. It's ridiculously hot here. I'm not sure what I can do about it beyond open. I think I need to open another couple of windows. I'll spin the camera around while I do that and talk to you guys. So how are you doing? Where are you in the world? I guess you're in the same places as you were before. What have you been doing? What are you working on? What's going well for you? What are you struggling with? I'd be interested to hear all of the above. Yes, please talk to me in the chat. That would be great. Talk to each other. Thank you for your consistent arrival on these streams. It's very much appreciated. And sorry, there'll be a few days break while I go to Udemy. I'm going to see Udemy at Udemy Live, see other instructors, meet the Udemy team, see their offices. I've never been there, so hopefully this will create the requisite through draft that I need today. Very, very, very warm. 31 degrees here in Cambridge today, which with the humidity levels is too much really, but we'll survive. At first we were afraid, we were petrified and all that, but now we're fixed. So how did my questions go down? Thank you Stevie Cass for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Do you ever stop working, Ben? I don't know if I do. Good question. Probably not. And what's the next question? Yeah, we get some fun in. We've been having fun today. Yep, insane heat. Everybody's doing well. Awesome. 20 people on the stream. Thank you for being here. Quite quiet, but then it's a funny old... It's not that funny a time of day. I think we'll pick up numbers a lot as we go through this at this time of day. Okay, let's crack on with it. Let's open up Unity. Fort Wayne, alternating between external projects and my own personal RPG when time permits. Cool. Twitch Dog, been going through the new Hush Hush Maybe VSX course lately. The Wilmer's course. Hopefully you're enjoying it. What do you think of it, Twitch Dog? It's going to be available to everybody in just a few days, so you've got an early sign. What do you think of the new VFX lighting, Unity lighting course by a real pro? Hopefully you like it, but let's have an honest opinion here in this small group. Hey, Erasement, thanks for the heart. Just waiting for Unity to open here. Starting to get annoyed with waiting for spinning disks in this machine now, and also slightly wishing I could use something like Wirecast or OBS for overlays and things. So starting to work towards convincing myself that a Mac Pro is required, but we shall see. We shall see. All right, so one of the first things I was going to do is just start charting out the architecture of this thing today, just to kind of get on top of what's the overall architecture, what's talking to what. I'll probably draw it on paper, which would suck for you guys, but I could hold it up afterwards. I'll start by trying to draw it on paper. I could try and draw it on the screen, but I can't see how that's going to work properly. It could work properly. I must be able to do that. Come on. This is pathetic. Let's see if we can find a way of doing that. Let's have a new desktop. In that new desktop, let's have a, I don't know, what's going to have a nice white page for us. All I need is white, not atom. I tell you what, why don't we do it on a black page? That's not very good, is it? No. What can I use as a black? I could just have a black background on the desktop. That would be easy. On this particular desktop anyway. Solid colors, black or kind of grey like that. That's cool. So I've got two desktops. This one's black, and then I can just use my VilQ thing to write all over the screen. Awesome. So we have the technology. And then I'll have to turn it off when I go back because it will still probably be over the screen. Here it is. Okay, cool. I'm clear on what I need to do. So I can draw a diagram, which is good. Can't clear my drawing, of course, but still. All right, Wickles, let's crack on with it. So I was going to look through the classes and see where we are in terms of organization. Whip open, what? MindMeister. Yeah, it could. I like MindMeister and the like. I've got a whole bunch of those puppies available. For class diagrams, though, how things are organized, how they're related together, maybe not. Maybe. We shall see. Anyway, let's get this open. Why am I using Visual Studio Code? You can use Visual Studio Code if you want, by the way. It's a good bit of kit, actually. Very lightweight. I like it. Come on. What on earth has happened to my Visual Studio? Give me a second. We might end up using Visual Studio Code today, guys, if Visual Studio Community has gone walkies. I don't remember uninstalling that. There you go. It's just called Visual Studio. Man, it's hot. Great content from the VFX course. I like the focus on the topic that only had the light. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think people are going to love it. It's coming out soon. Keep an eye on the Udemy announcements for that. That should be a good launch. Interesting topics. So cool. All right, let's get this guy open and crack on with some work. So unless anybody's got a better way of, I guess I could draw diagrams. How would you do it? You would either use a bit of paper, or you could use Google Drawings or something similar to that. I'll start off over here as like a messy starting point. I just want to check something actually. Can I draw on this screen? Yes, I can. Just answer my own question. Draw on it and then persist. All right. So what I want to look at is the interrelationship between the different modules, probably, of these different parts of the RPG to start with. And one of the ways to do that is for me to just start going through the classes. There's so many classes here, it's completely crazy. And so many namespaces. And I want to just start to see what's talking to what and whether we've got a rat's nest or whether this thing is looking sensible. It also works as a reasonably good overview. So I'm going to try and keep it just to the namespace level. How do the namespaces communicate, and does it make sense for these namespaces to communicate? Using these namespaces makes sure that the only classes that can talk to each other are the ones that import the relevant namespaces. So let's see if this happens how I hope it will. So it doesn't matter how messy it is, let's just talk about the camera. I'm going to use the exact name. Camera UI is one of them. I won't draw boxes around these things. It ain't worth it. There's just no value add in me doing that. So, and I might leave it over the top of the screen like this. I'll switch over here so we can see it. So we've got the camera UI. So all of these guys are internal to the camera UI. We'll just check that they're namespaced there. But we can see that the camera UI has a dependency on characters and quests. So let's just enumerate that dependency then. Now, you can decide which way you draw your arrows around. I'm going to draw them this way because we kind of import the characters code into the camera UI and import the quest code into the camera UI. If the characters changes, it has a knock-on effect on the camera UI, not the other way around, right? So that's the direction that I'm choosing to show it in. So that's cool. It's going to be right over the top of the screen, which is going to be a little bit awkward, but we'll survive. Now, it looks like coin display, which is also inside the... It's not namespaced, interestingly, coin display, because I created it recently. I should probably, as part of this, rename space. So let's get myself a commit, which says that I am namespacing and chart everything. So this is how you take stock of your project and see where we are. So I need to put a namespace around this. So let's do it. Can't I get rid of this diagram without... Thought I could. Maybe you can't. Clear. Start. No. Ugh, this is not the way to do diagrams. Okay, I'm going to do a different way. I am going to do diagrams a completely different way. I'll make a Google drawing and I'll share it with you guys, something like that. Let's do something a little different. How do you guys normally draw these types of diagrams? I'm going to put this somewhere sensible in our drive, GameDev.tv, and then dive into courses when it comes up, and then make it public, and then give you guys access to it. Use Drawio. Yeah, Drawio is supposed to be quite good. Some file names that might have been personal. Yeah, not too worried, Bindi. There's nothing, file names I'm not too worried about, I don't think, but thanks. All right, courses, RPG. It's nice for you to see behind the scenes. There's not too much incriminating around. If you see anything you think I shouldn't share, then tell me. It's obviously a bit late, but Unity RPG architecture. I'm going to make this available for you guys. That's the difficulty of only having one screen, right? This is where it would be better just to have a second screen. Then I can do stuff on a second screen, get it how I want it, and ship it across, or just stream a section of my screen. Probably the latter is better. JC Gamer saying quick draw with Google. Are these things better than just using Google Draw? Oh, okay. That's quite cool. Why is it? How's it with
line,
Google?
Or ocean. Or
What's
moon.
Or I see line, ocean,
or
moon,
comet.
zigzag.
I see river.
Is this just a game,
or
JC Adventure
squiggle.
Game? 8
Or
seconds. What's
animal
going to happen after 8
migration.
seconds? This is fun, but
I see cloud.
Just want to see
or
what happens
pond.
at 0. This
or
is a bit of a
hexagon.
laugh.
Or
0.
pole. Sorry, I couldn't get it.
And draw lightning. Okay, it is a literally quick draw game. Thanks for that. Auto draw. I'm starting to be slightly suspicious now of your suggestions, because the last one was not useful but very fun. Does this like auto draw? Did you mean a square? Oh yeah, I like that. Circle. Did I mean like a circle? Yes, or maybe, or I don't know. I mean, what else would you want to draw? A star. That's a really good star, Ben. Did I mean a cog? Maybe. Okay, that's cool. There's tons of options, right? I'll go with this for now. Then I can share it with you guys. So anybody on the web can anyone with a link can comment, and you guys can comment on this and copy the link, give it to you guys in the chat. There you go. AutoDraw uses neural networks to autocomplete. Yeah, no, that's cool. No, don't apologize, JC. That was really fun, that quick draw thing, and I like this AutoDraw. I think it's pretty cool. I think for what we're doing, it's so basic I don't need it, but I'm going to keep myself a link to that and check it out later. So thank you. That's cool. All right, so we need to just crack on with this architecture. So we'll put boxes here because they kind of come for free. So we've got characters namespace. This is how the namespaces interact. And if I just duplicate that and say that we already decided that within characters we have a dependency on quests and characters. So let's just, camera UI has a dependency on characters and quests. I will put arrows in to talk about the direction of the dependency because I think that's useful to know. So if characters changes, camera UI changes. If quests change, camera UI potentially changes. I'm just going to make all these things center aligned, and then we have a diagram you guys can all join in on. Format options. Oh, gold. How does this work? Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. How do I just centralize this? Yuck. It's because I'm trying to select arrows and text elements at the same time, and there's some bogus element there. Oh, this is fun, Google. I can see why you're sharing the more enlightened new things with me. Yeah, okay, cool. Fine. All right, so let's crack on with this mapping. At least these are all tied together and working out. Fine. So I need to then namespace the coin display because it wasn't namespace. So namespace this into characters. Does that make sense? Probably. Characters are the people that carry coins. So let's do that. And then let's deal with the compilation fallout of doing that. So something is not going to work at this point. I'm not sure what it is, but let's go and see what that something is. It also shows we no longer have a dependency on characters. I'm not going to draw the dependencies on Unity Engine or Unity Engine UI because there's no point. Because everything depends on Unity Engine. I don't really care about the dependencies on UI necessarily, at least for the moment. I'm going to make the choice to only chart our namespaces, and nothing else came up because characters only talks to other characters things. Okay, cool. Now let's crack on. Now, is there a simple way for me to find files? Is it Control P is in Visual Studio? No, it's not. I'll just go through and look. So audio, because I need to reacquaint myself fully with this anyway, enemyai.cs. I'm basically looking for CS files. There is a short way of doing that. I think it's just like this, actually. Yeah, it is. Search in solution.cs. And that's one way of doing it. But anyway, let's go through them. So enemy AI is dependent actually on nothing. That's inside characters. The front-facing camera, the face camera is inside characters. That's cool. Characters depends on camera UI. No, it doesn't, thankfully. Now, if it did, I'd be unhappy because it would mean that there's a two-way dependency between camera UI and characters, and I don't really like creating cyclic or two-ways dependencies where possible. So I'm glad that this camera UI has grayed itself out to say, actually, no, there is no dependency in that direction. Good. I wouldn't want to see a dependency in both ways, because otherwise, if I change that, that changes. If I change that, that changes. And anything else hanging off this tree, you end up with this stuff spreading, with the dependencies spreading around horribly. So I'm glad that's the case. This thing does nothing. This thing doesn't use any of our namespaces. Special abilities, again, all within characters. Same here. Same with the weapon system. And we're good to go. So hopefully, we have a couple more scripts. Player control, uses camera UI. Okay, let's chart that out. Now, you wouldn't be able to do this rapidly like this. And by the way, yes, there are much more rapid ways to do this using things like ndepend. You can go and look for ndepend. I'll give you a link. I'll bring it up now. Would be an example. Improve your .NET quality with ndepend. You can go get yourself a trial of that. Have a play with it. It's quite a lot of fun. It will show you the couplings and the interrelationships between inside your solution. But obviously, we don't. Oops, I didn't mean to kill the chat. Obviously, we don't. Hang on. How do I reopen the last Control-Shift-T, isn't it? Yeah, but that hasn't worked. Okay, doesn't matter. I'll do it a different way. Obviously, you want to know how these things work fundamentally before you try and get yourself a tool to do them, because otherwise you disappear up. Because otherwise, you disappear without. Because otherwise, you disappear without. And otherwise, you can't even empower it. And otherwise, you can't even empower it. Properly. So let's namespace manually, chart it manually, and then later we can consider introducing tools that do this for us. You've got to give the tool a chance, though. You've got to give it the fundamental information to work off, which is what we're doing by namespacing. Is it clear what I'm doing, guys, to you guys? Benception, yeah. Weird stuff happened there. So player control, just check this all works. It does. So far we've got this. The camera UI seems to depend on a lot of stuff, but that's okay. I'm not too worried. So player inventory does not depend on anything. Cool. Character, we've all been through all this. Dominant hand, weapon system, special abilities. Special abilities are cool. They also, all of these special abilities have their own subscripts. I would really hope, oh, that's interesting. I was going to say, I hope that things like area effect behavior and the like, the special ability details, don't need any other namespaces. They do seem to need characters. Let's just look at the pattern before I chart this. This is because I haven't namespaced area effect behavior, and it should be within characters because it's a character issue. So I'm inconsistent here. Area effect config is in RPG characters. Power attack behavior, most of these actually are in characters. So I just have an inconsistent namespacing here. So let's fix that. Area effect behavior should be in namespace. It's easy to end up importing rather than putting something in a namespace. And it will have roughly the same effect to start with, and then it messes up your solution later. So worth spending time looking at your architecture. I'm just going to get some glasses on because my eyes are straining a little bit. So, draw a line on my other monitor is cool. Now, I'm really easily impressed, but watching him draw a line on my other monitor is cool. Draw a line on your... Oh! I see. I get it, Binder. You like that, do you? There's that fun, that stuff where I come over here and draw. I could draw all sorts on there. In fact, I'm not over there, am I? I'm on the same screen. I'm using this. Anyway, so if I namespace area effect behavior into characters, what happens? Bear in mind, I have got a commit here. I know that I'm, what am I doing? I'm namespace and chart everything. Cool. Okay. So now stuff will not compile, right? Because we're going to have a... Oh, no, it does. That's okay. I thought it wouldn't compile, but the reason it does is because this thing was previously using RPG characters, and now it's namespace RPG.characters. It's the same thing, except for this is supposed to be in the namespace rather than importing the namespace. All right, so look at weapons. What do weapons do? Up the top, nothing. They're in the characters. So you've always got to just, look at this. This is weird. We're both using it and inside the namespace. Not necessary. Take that out. It's always interesting to pick the level of abstraction you're working at. I've decided not to get bogged down in all the details inside of these namespaces. If we did, we'd be here forever. I'm just trying to get a quick overview as to what the deal is, with a simple diagram, simple flexible tools. Flexible tools that you can use for multiple things are always better than specific tools until you use them lots of times, prove that they're valuable, and then go into the specific tools. Now, this should be, this audio trigger and spin me should both be in rpg.core, but audio trigger is not. So we're not only charting this out, but we're tidying up as we go. So this is namespace rpg.core, and now we're suddenly going to see a whole bunch of stuff I suspect need this. But let's see what happens. So I namespace that into core, and try and run is one of the easiest ways of finding out what's wrong. I'd be very surprised if we didn't get issues now. But we don't, for whatever reason. That means all the things that needed to import core are already importing core. We just haven't seen them yet. We haven't even got core on our chart. I know that we're going to need core on our chart, so let's put that on now. I don't know where it's going to live. We'll see, depends how it's connected. And let's crack on. So environment audio, none of this stuff should, nothing in environment should have any scripts. Nothing in level should have any scripts. Nothing in student asset packs should have scripts. Dialogue and quests will have. Okay, so there's a bunch. Let's just make sure. We will have namespaced all of these. Let's just make sure. So quest depends on characters. Is that true? Yes, it probably is. And we, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. So here's the first thing that we've seen that is potentially a bit hard to deal with, is that quests depends on characters. These entities are too big, so let's make them smaller. Don't really like that, because if I make a change to characters now, it's going to impact camera UI directly, but it's also going to impact it via quest. So I'm going to make that red, and we'll have a little discussion in a bit as to whether this is a good thing that that dependency exists like that. Also, my arrows are too small, so let's in bulk sort that out. Something like this. One smaller. Okay, awesome. So gather. Let's have a look at gather. Yep, that's namespaced properly. Again, all of these quest types are depending on characters. And we'll look at specifically why this is happening in a minute. Just looking for any other includes of our own, rpg.includes at the top of the file. Oh, camera UI, quest depending on camera UI. Quests depending on camera UI. Not entirely happy about that, because I thought camera UI depended on quests. Where does that happen? Here. I don't like it. Look at this. And we have also a two-way dependency here. Bit nasty. So, okay. And core, I don't know what depends on core. Probably everything. I'm going to leave core out of it. This will do. We've made progress. We can see the dependencies, and I've made the things in red that I don't like. I do not like the fact that there's two ways that characters can influence camera UI, either directly or via quests, and I really don't like the way that camera UI and quests are bound back and forth like that. It suggests they're overcoupled. It suggests they're doing the same thing. Something's wrong. So we need to do a refactor. Now, red-green refactor, remember? Firstly, you break something, then you fix it, and then you refactor. Right now, it's running. We're green, right? So the system's running. We've just charted our dependencies. We've namespaced a few things. Game plays without any errors, hopefully, apart from the weird screen frustrum thing that we only get when we're in 2D, and hence I really can't be bothered to worry about for the moment. So I would commit at this stage, because I want to know that I can get back to here. I've made a few changes to a few classes, and I've done what I said I was going to do. Let's commit. Simple. Tiny little commits, right? No harm in putting lots of pegs in when you're climbing. If you're rock climbing and you've got infinite bits of gear that you can hang off yourself, and it takes almost no energy to put a piece of gear in the rock, why wouldn't you do it? Yeah, so that's what commits are like. Let's just do them. So what am I going to do next? I need to pick one of these dependencies and fix it. And the one that's most offensive to me is the circular dependency between camera UI and quest. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to commit that I'm doing. So we are going to resolve circular dependency between camera UI and quests. Right, that's my intention. So I've recorded my intention. I'm going to get a drink from it. Ask some questions, guys. Entertain me while I drink slowly. It's so hot, and my ice has melted in this thermos flasky thing. That's kind of a bit nuts, really. Ugh, dripping all over myself. Do we get what we're doing here? Does it make sense? Are we happy that this is useful? The chat is ridiculously quiet. I feel like I'm talking into a black hole, but that's fine. Is there any benefit to using Visual Studio over VS Code? There must be. It's so much bigger. But what is the everyday benefit these days? By the time you load up Visual Studio Code with 100 extensions, maybe not. Maybe not. And we can switch to Visual Studio Code. I don't mind doing that, actually, briefly. So squirrel, here, I'm going to put a squirrel in the chat, which will remind me that that's what I'm doing. I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes try switching to it. If it goes well, I'll use it for a bit because I'm using it for all my other projects. A bit above my level, very interesting to follow. Okay, Sneagle World. Let me try and fill the gap for you. Relatively simple, actually. This is a huge amount of code, and I don't expect you to understand all that. What you can take from this stream is that when you're using Unity and C#, and you say using something, a namespace like this, gives you access to a load of classes, a load of other code. We have namespaced our own code, so we've put our classes, our scripts, if you like, into folders, effectively just putting it into folders. And once they're in a folder, the only way you can access them is by specifying that you're using them like this. And all I've done is gone across most of the solution. I'm not going to pretend I went through every file. I think I did, but I can't be sure. I'm only human. And I'm charting out what is using what, which folder of scripts is reaching into which other folder of scripts. And then I'm asking the question, does this make sense? And is this the architecture, because this is architecture level now, is this the architecture we want? Okay, so that's what I've done so far. Relatively, thank you. Thank you for the follow, the new follow that just came in. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. Now, the very brief squirrel, which is in there, is I was going to just try switching to Visual Studio Code. I don't know what the deal is with that these days. Let's just have a look. On the Mac, on here, firstly, there's no option for an external script editor to be Visual Studio Code inside the defaults. Doesn't mean you can't do it. So I've gone to Unity Preferences, External Code. I'm going to have a look and see if there's a way I can quickly switch to Visual Studio Code. I'd much prefer to be in there, much lighter weight. And you can still install all the extensions you ever need. So let's try that. Boom, that's the first step I would have thought. And it also would solve my problem with Visual Studio opening every 5 seconds. So now if I open the trigger script, what happens? Visual Studio Code is opening, that's a good sign. Has it opened a solution? It has not. We can probably put some parameters in. That's what you'd need to do in Godot, is you'd need to apply some parameters. I don't know where you do that in Unity at the moment. I'd need to look that up. So it's not opening the folder, but hey, it's not the end of the world to just quickly open the folder once, is it, per working session. So I could open this folder, this new model folder here. Let's try it. Let's just minimize Visual Studio. Everything's saved, I believe. And just switch. Why not? Don't save all that stuff. I'm not sure why it thought it was changed anyway. Just check that version control agrees that I haven't broken anything by doing that. It's created a .vs code settings.json file. Don't think I care. I think I do want to version the settings.json. The cool thing about Visual Studio Code is any changes you make to it, any changes you make to its settings are themselves put under version control, right? So if I go to, I think it's splodge space. No, how do you get to it? Somewhere you can get to its search thing. I've kind of forgotten. Command palette, Control-Shift-P. Here, if I go and change some settings, any of the settings, or I go into code and preferences and settings, if I make a change in here, window zoom level goes to 2, for instance, and I save that, then I can save it as new settings for the user or new settings for the session, all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty cool, and it all gets version controlled. So I'm going to leave it as a default zoom level 1, but there's a lot of control over this and a lot of control over the settings. I like it. Let's try. Let's see what happens if we use this. It should still, let's try a few things. Void on collision enter. Let's try a message. Not helping me with that. In Visual Studio, does it help me with messages on the Mac at the moment? I don't remember. Yeah, it does. So there's an example. You're not getting message completion, but is that just because I haven't installed an extension in Visual Studio? Quite possibly. Let's have a look what extensions there are. Unity. Debugger for Unity, maybe. Unity tools, could try that. Is it well downloaded? Yes. Well rated? Yes, I'll give it a go. And a load of other stuff that looks like it's too much hassle to install. So I'll try Unity tools, see if that helps. So you've seen one difference anyway, is that you don't seem to get any autocomplete on messages. Void on, come on. No, we're not getting any message auto-completion. So there's an example. You may be a way of doing that. I don't know of it, but hey, look, I'll use the Visual Studio for a bit and see how we get on. Would I get namespace auto-completion? Namespace, it should do, rpg.yes. So we'll see the differences as I go through. I'll make my font a bit bigger so you guys can see what's going on. How do you do that? Is it like so? And yeah, just carry on. So thanks for the idea, basically. So where am I from a control standpoint? Camera follow. Oh, I did nothing. I just removed a blank line or inserted a blank line. That's fine. Now, you guys have confused me. I've got to make sure that I know which class I'm using here or which editor I'm using. All right, so let's think now about the circular dependency. What's the solution file it creates? The Visual Studio solution file. I don't know what you're asking, but this file it's created here is a VS Code settings.json file. You just had the code lens reference feature counting above methods on VS Code. That's as good as its versus pro feature. Not typically available versus community code lens. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying, Twitch Dog, there exactly. I think you're talking about the reference counting that we do here. 0 references, 2 references, and it shows me where this thing's used. All good stuff. We'll see what the difference feels like. I use this, as I say, for Godot. I'm using it. You can use it for C++ as well. I don't know if it's built in. Yes, it is. It's going to get better for Python as well, so it's a pretty cool, very lightweight editor. A bit heavier weight once you start loading in all of these enabled extensions, though. All right, so anyway, back to what we're doing. Squirrel off. How do I go end squirrel? We'll go end and then squirrel, I think. GameDev.tv squirrel, if there is one. There you go, like HTML, end squirrel. Go away, Mr. Squirrel. Hey, didn't like that. Doesn't like the /. So why do these interdepend on each other, the camera UI and the Quest? Well, let's go and look and see why they interdepend on each other. So it's the coin no, where was it? Camera UI to Quests. I don't see. It'd be easier if I used Visual Studio that had all these things open already. Where does, here you go, this was the class where camera UI depends on Quests, which is this here, camera UI depends on Quest, the upward arrow. I'm going to get confused by IDs. I'm going to continue to use Visual Studio, but yes, you can use code. I'm just used to Visual Studio at the moment, not going to change midstream. So one way to do this is you just comment out rpg.quest and it will soon show you where things break. If there is indeed a dependency. That's the other thing that can happen is you think there's a dependency and there isn't. I think there is voice, that's why. Voice. So the camera raycaster needs to know about the concept of voice in order to know whether it's hitting something that has a voice. It's pretty much just using it as a label. What else does it do with a voice? It's going to voice hit and then it's sending an on mouse over and passing the voice hit through. So if we're not careful, the camera raycaster is going to need to about every type that is relevant to the mouse, to things that you could mouse over. And in this case, it's dependent on Quest because of the voice module. That might be all right. Let's look the other way around. Why is Quest dependent on camera UI? That's more the way around that I'm not so keen on. So references are a good quick view for incoming dependencies. Yes, they are in Visual Studio Code, exactly. You're quite right. It's quite a nice view. I think we can get something similar to that in Visual Studio Community. I just haven't tried here since I moved to the Mac. If you know of a way, let me know. So I'm going to allow this dependency to go, and then I'm going to work out which way around the other dependency was, which is where quests depend on camera UI. It's that descending dependency in that diagram that looks like it's going against the flow. So let's see if we can get rid of that dependency. So which one depends on camera UI? It's voice. Is it voice alone? Yeah, it's voice that has the 2D coupling. So why do we need camera UI? You don't necessarily, just because it has a using statement. Well, if you have a using statement that isn't grayed out, so we know this system collections generic is not being used. We know this using system not being used. But this isn't grayed out, so therefore you know it's being used, right? Whether you can right-click and just say find references like this, you can. So you can right-click the namespace here and find references. We can see that the camera UI namespace is, this shows you all the places it's declared or being used. It does not show me where in this class. There probably is a way of finding it, but one of the easiest ways that's pretty tool independent is you comment it out. Then we scroll down, we see where the errors are, and you can see it's here. just here, because I can see the little red dot you see on the right-hand side of my screen. Bit difficult to see. That thing there shows me there's one instance of this. So it's because we want to register for mouse clicks. That's why. So we're creating a tight coupling by using delegates here. By using delegates between the camera UI needs to know about the concept of a quest, because the quest namespace is the namespace that has a voice in it. And therefore it needs to know that so that it can change the cursor, like when we're in the game and we move around and there's something that video I can talk to. Yeah, this is temporary, this problem. This is the one I just commented out. Then the cursor changes, but then the quest is saying it needs to know about the camera UI because it needs to register for the delegate so that it can, on mouse over any voice, trigger the quest dialog, etc. That's not great. No point in trying to use a decoupling tool like delegates if it's going to couple it, if it's going to have to couple things both ways. Now, last time we used delegates, let's have a look in the solution. We did it all within one namespace. I would have used the term register almost certainly. And it would be in the player control here, registers for mouse events, and needs to know about the camera raycaster, which means that characters depends on camera UI. Let's look at my diagram. Well, this is, yeah, but camera UI must therefore depend on characters. How does it not? You see, the other way that you can do things naughtily is you can put the namespace in front of the class name like this, rpg.characters. And that can get hidden as well. So you need to be a little bit careful of that. So one of the ways you can go around that is to just go to RPG characters, wherever it is. Let's just take anything from the characters. And you can say, there you go, find references. So this is the other way of doing that diagram that we did before. Camera raycaster depends on both quests and characters. Yeah, we knew that. That's that upward dependency. But surely there's what I'm looking for is surely there's a reverse dependency from camera UI back to characters. If we're using delegates in the same way, I would have thought there's got to be a character's namespace object that requires camera UI. And I think I may have missed it in my audit. And it would be AI health systems. I don't think I missed it. Characters Unity Engine. So I'm just looking through. I don't see it. Okay, so let's try and regroup my thoughts. It's not expensive to set up a server for 1,000 people, K1 TT3 NPL. It might be difficult to write the code to make it work reliably. That's the hard thing. The actual server, depending on how hard they play and etc., it's not particularly expensive. So anyway, I need to try and decouple these guys. So camera UI to quest, or at least I need to be aware of this coupling. Whether I need to actually do the decoupling right now, not necessarily, but I do want to make some progress on it. So quests here. It's all because we need to find the raycaster to register a delegate with it. Well, in which case I think we just make a method call. The only reason we're doing this business about registering for mouse clicks is so that inside the camera raycaster, And this is why I'm glad I didn't, you know, we said we were going to take this code that looks pretty duplicate and we're going to bring it into one place, but I resisted because it wasn't the third time. Well, where we interact with voice, we're going on mouse over voice hit. We could do something completely different to that, right? We could say, well, anything that's got a voice, which is this voice thing here, can have a method on it that is just on mouse over voice. And instead of registering for mouse clicks like this, we just call the method, and then we take away this dependency in that direction and make a straight method call, and that saves the circular dependency. I mean, that seems to be the solution. So let's look and see what I'm supposed to be doing. Remove circular dependency, exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Perfect. So let's do that. Let's boldly take away this dependency. Say, no, it's not all right for it to be two-way. What we're trying to move towards is a one-way dependency, an upward arrow here. Therefore, we're not going to register for mouse clicks over here. We're going to make this on mouse over voice public. We're going to make it, is that okay to have a public method inside the voice? On start, we're not going to register for mouse clicks. We wouldn't call it on mouse over voice, we'll call it something else like voice clicked voice, something like that. Public voice clicked voice. Is it okay for a voice club to have a class to have a public method called voice clicked, passing in the voice object? Probably. It does make me wonder how the calling function is going to know about voice. So we need to potentially change the parameter on here. Why are we even passing a voice through here? Filter for self. We're not even going to need to do that without events. If we're not using delegates, we're not going to need to filter for self interactions. So we've just got a voice clicked. That's cool there. Now let's go back to, I think this will work, camera raycaster. And instead of calling on mouse over voice, which won't work anymore, we already have we've already imported rpg.characters. So we need to know which voice we are talking to. So we already have it. We've already got the component. So all we need to say is voice hit dot, and then what did we call it? Click, was it? Voice clicked. Passing in what? The voice itself. So voice clicked can go there. Voice, we don't even need a parameter. Don't need any of that stuff. And you'll be able to check all this out on the git commit in any second now if it works. Cool, I think I've just splatted a circular dependency, which is a good lesson to learn. Let's save all, because I've got so many script files open I can't tell where I am. And go back to Unity. Glad that worked. I was getting worried that was going to not work. Well, it hasn't worked yet. Isn't player controller one depending on camera raycaster? Yeah, but I'm talking about the namespaces. So characters is inside, player controller is inside the character's namespace. Makey sensey? Hey, that worked. Awesome. So I think we've removed the circular dependency. What we've done is we've made it that, if I look back at the code, we've made it that voice does not depend on, and hence RPG quests now as a whole does not depend on camera UI. So quests do not depend on camera UI, so we can guess at which end the arrow is, go like that, and we are on the way. I'm actually going to make this orange because it's not circular, it's back and forth. Cool, job done. So let's commit. Did what I expected. I'm going to stand up. How long are we going? 45 minutes, you know what that means? It's stretching time. That was very high pitch. It's stretching time, is what I meant to say. Let's push these changes. Now you guys will have exactly what I just did. If you want to know what I just did, go to the repo. Here's the link. Doink. And then follow that link, just for those who aren't sure. And then go to one commit, because this is one commit for this stream. Ugh, I'm wrong. Go to... okay, you need to go to the right branch. So you need to go, or you can just click here. Stream 11. Anyway, get to the Stream 11 branch, and then have a look at the commits. The latest one was remove circular dependency between blah, and then you can see, forget that, VS Code settings, I'm sorry about the mess, we can collapse that, I think, like that. And then now you can see exactly what I did to remove that circular dependency. Boom, basically. Okay, I'm going to stand up. Excuse me. What about Pogo? At this temperature, you kidding me? Maybe, but I'm not going to prostitute myself to you guys because I'm really quite hot. much as I love you, you don't want me overheated. I won't be able to think straight. Yeah, so we're coming up in the world. Be a good day to do some trampolining from a windows open. You can easily see what's going on point of view, but too hot. That's my excuse for everything today. Oh, wow. Okay, so stretching time, guys. Move your bodies a little bit. Let's not stand still all day. I'm going to do the standard stuff. I'll do something new. This is a good challenge for you. Can you get your arms like this? I'll tell you what, let's go bigger on this screen for a second while we do the stretch. Dunk. There you go. Can you do this? Oh, can you reach behind? If you can't, maybe you should be able to. Probably hear all that cracking. Something like that. Oh. Both sides, by the way, if you can't do it both sides, slowly work towards it. So that's pretty good. That kind of proves some mobility, proves and improves. Doing it both proves and improves your mobility. This stretch here, always a good one. I know I'm out of focus here, but hey, we'll survive. Maybe above the head and some rotations. Oh, crack again. Gas being released in the joints, apparently, as you reduce the pressure in the fluid massively in the joints, then gas that's absorbed into the fluid then gets released as a result of the massive pressure drop that you're causing. No harm done, apparently, and it's probably a sign that you're moving a vertebrae or a joint that you haven't moved recently, which I would say is a good sign. All right, so enough of a stretch for me. Just going to rest the brain for 2 seconds, take some questions maybe, and then go from there. So I'm going to, then after that, I'm going to look at if there's some way of preventing this nasty, not circular, but it's a what do you call it? It's a diamond dependency. I'm not sure. Basically, if I change characters, I don't care that quests change, particularly. I just don't want camera UI to change in 2 different ways because of a change in character. So does that make sense? I want, if I change characters, I've got this way of changing camera UI, and I've got this way of changing camera UI. I want to get rid of, ideally it feels like that one, just because it kind of might look pretty on the diagram, doesn't mean it's right. It's not necessarily essential to remove this, but I want to try and remove it, and in doing so clean up my code and understand. So that's what I'm going to pre-commit as my target, if I can get my control of my screen back. So I'm not going to say attempt to resolve, because I'm either going to succeed, in which case the commit will be resolve, or I'm going to fail, in which case I will just give up and stash. It's a bit like just general life goals, right? So if I succeed, then I resolve, I'm going to call it a double path dependency, or double path from characters to camera UI. Make sense? Then England heat waves. Oh yeah, okay. Might be hotter where you are. It's probably more humid here though. Go on then, do this. How humid is it? It is 38%. Oh, you're going to tell me that's not so bad. 31 degrees, 38%. You're going to tell me it's hotter and even more humid over there, Twitch Dog. But then I'm going to remind you you've probably got air conditioning, or you're probably going to tell me you haven't. And we'd go on like that all day. Anyway, I would like to make a bit more progress. So is my brain back on? Probably. I'm going to go get some water. So I shall leave, I'm going to leave the game playing with a bit of game sound. How's my game sound set up? Medium. That shouldn't blow your ears off. Is it set to root out to you guys? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Back in a few minutes. 60%. All right. I feel completely trumped now. Can you hear music now? So I can't. Huh, okay. Oh, there was that conspicuous block, look at that, which is part of a quest that you can go and get that quest and then gather the cube. Cool. Functionality, all good fun. Back in a moment. Won't be long. Don't say anything mean about me while I'm gone, will you? Okay, microphone off, because just in case I go to the loo or something, that would be bad. like to be beside the seaside. Today I'm stuck here in London in the heat. Okay. Time for a great joke. Okay, what do you call a cow with no legs? Let's hear it. One of the benefits of eating only one meal a day is you can eat things like this without any guilt when you do eat. I think you could just eat it without any guilt anyway, I guess. But hey, I digress. Ground beef. No. That's awesome. Oh, that's awful, but also slightly funny. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Where in the world does this awful humour come from? K1TT3NPL. Well, I'm going to gently peruse my code while I stuff this. Do quests really need to import characters? Almost certainly. But where? Everywhere. Tightly bound. Hang on. Quests are so tightly bound to characters. Maybe you should just join these two namespaces together. I think the only reason I've got a separate namespace for quests is because that's how I started historically. Yeah, I think we're just... The folder structure is a different issue. We're not trying to mirror the namespacing structure in the folders. If we did, there'd be no point in having that structure in two places. Sorry about the noises. I think there's no point in having quests in a separate namespace. What do you guys think? You guys are following through. Why on earth did I put quests in a separate namespace, and do they need to be there? The mincemeat, people having blank squares. All right, I'm going to rename space all of the quest stuff into characters because I can't see the point. I don't think you can rename a namespace like this. Maybe you can. Let's see what happens. Are we under version control? Are we safe? Have we got anything changed since? I don't think we have. No? Okay, well, let's try it. What could possibly go wrong? Quite a lot. Will it, though? I don't know. Let's try it. It should have been a one-button rename, I think.
Well met, friend, I say,
Jarl,
you're on the
nice
right
hear from you.
path
Thank
to the
you for
village.
subscribing. Why wouldn't you? You wouldn't do that find and replace because you think it would break things. You wouldn't do the bringing of the two namespaces together because you want to separately be able to like import quests later as a separate option, as a separate like module to bring in. That is a benefit of keeping them separate. Questing is something we've added on top. Why did the functions stop calling each other? Because they had constant arguments. Oh no. Okay. I don't know if we're going to survive this stream today if these jokes keep coming. Thank you for the jokes, I hasten to add. They are brightening my day up no end. As in I wouldn't remember I renamed it later. Yeah, so now really the discussion is, do we want to be able to keep ourselves honest to the idea of inserting quests into a solution in a way that doesn't break or that's independent? So if we look at these dependencies, we always said it would be nice if these things like quests can be inserted into your solution. And the way for them to be inserted into the solution is for them not to depend on characters, right? Ideally. But they kind of do depend on characters. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's illogical just to bring these together. I think I'm just going to put characters in quests for the moment. If we want to separate things out later for some valiant idea that we want quest to be an insertable module, then when the architecture is completely settled down, we can do it. But I think I'm going to do that, which is what we've just done. We touched a lot of files doing that because of the namescape space change, but I think that's okay. I'm just going to qualify by rename it by moving rpg.quests into characters. I think that's fine. All right, I feel like I've done my architectural review. I don't think the stream is done because I would like to make a lot more progress, but the objective of the stream was to take stock of our architecture, do some performance profiling, you see that's why I read this thing, and to implement on and to add our next feature, or at least start our next feature. Okay, so I've still got work to do. No bunking off for me and actually having a life. I've got more work to do on this RPG, particularly as I'm going away shortly. So let's try and brighten my face up a little bit because, well, I'm looking pretty dull right now. Sounding pretty dull as well, some people would say. There you go, something like that. All right, so performance profiling. Let's do it. Let's identify the biggest performance bottlenecks in this puppy so far so that we don't start creating things like death by 1,000 pinpricks. It's going to be a very basic top-level performance profile, but we're going to do a basic profile. Oh, San Francisco. I think. If any of you are anywhere near San Francisco, come and meet me. I'd like to see you in person. I don't know if you'll be able to get into the event, but I could always come and have lunch or something with you guys. So I'll just Google Udemy Live. There you go. That's the event. That's what's going down. All right, let's take a look at this guy running and see what's happening. Where is the performance profile these days? Is it under or is it not under? Hug. There you go. Yep, never mind. Too far away. All right, I'm going to play the game, have a little look at this, see what we can see. Just a top level. Where's our time being spent when the game is being played? Are we in a piece of representative gameplay? Sort of. There's people standing around, there's loads of enemies around. Not going to look into the render thread in too much detail or the main thread. I'm going to focus mainly on the stuff that I can directly control at the moment, which is the scripting side of things. If I just pause the profiler for a moment, pause the game for a moment, let's go and take a little butcher's hook at this. So, yeah, let's do a deep profile. I'm going to get a better, it's not going to cause me a problem. Let's just do that. It's giving me Unity jobbing system information these days, which is quite interesting. So, but that's not what I want. What I want is the hierarchy. So you go in the profiler, so we go to Window and where is it these days? Just been there twice. Analysis, Profiler, or Command or Splodge 7. And then you change it into the hierarchy view. Make sure you play your game a bit, capture some data, and you can leave it running for a minute just to make sure you can see. What's the null references? Oh, am I getting that error? Let me make sure I'm profiling a game that's actually working. Why am I getting a null reference exception? Maybe that was the profiler being turned on and off during the
Well met, friend, I say, you're on the right path to the village.
Actually, when I switched into deep profile mode, it probably was. Okay, not a problem. So, struggling with these new menus, but I'll get there. Into the hierarchy. Godot, you'd have to ask Jan. I don't know what about Godot's performance profiling. We'll have a look briefly, very briefly. No, do a Google search, Bindi, that would be better, and tell me if you don't mind, because I want to stay on topic. So, pre-late update, particle system begin in update all. There's a nice long name. Particle system update. Okay, we've got some pretty hefty particle system overhead going on here. Camera render, fair enough. Script run, mono behavior update, enemy AI update. It's taking 1.2 seconds, 1 millisecond. I think that's one of my kids. The enemy AI is pretty slow. What about it? the coroutines in the enemy AI. The patrol coroutines are expensive in the enemy AI. Okay, worth knowing. Taking a millisecond is quite big, really. So I think what I'll do as a result of that is go into enemy AI. I think we're probably starting a bunch of coroutines without stopping them, actually. We can probably just... I don't know, we're pretty aggressively stopping all coroutines, but are we not starting coroutines too often? Let's have a look. If I could spell. Well, yeah. I mean, this is a bit dense. We are repeatedly starting a patrol coroutine. And nothing here is saying, well, if we're not patrolling, if we're outside the chase ring, well, there's lots of ways I can make this go faster, but if we know that we're in a patrolling state, why would we start patrolling again? So I think that we just need to do something like this. If state not equal to state.patrolling, then start patrolling. Otherwise, sit quietly and do nothing, young man. So this might well help. I think the behavior will be the same, but I think we would have saved a load of time. Let's go and have a look at that. So there's a quick win. Let's just replay the game. So we were using 1.2 milliseconds, which is quite a lot when you've got a budget of like 15 or something, depending on what frame rate you're after. It's quite a lot of time. So these dudes are still patrolling okay, and I'm pretty sure they will. But I'd like to think we're not using 1.2 seconds on that now. 1.2 milliseconds. No, we're not, you see. There you go. Bunch of time saved. Awesome. So let's justify why. It also just makes sense that we just don't keep starting the coroutine. And also, is there not a state to do with chasing? Yeah, chasing. So again here, if you're not chasing, so if state not equal to state.chasing, then start chasing. Otherwise, do nothing, right? Or we could say if you are equal to state chasing, return. Otherwise, do it. That might look better. So you could say if you are equal to patrolling, then return. Otherwise, start routine control. I don't know which one you prefer. Which paradigm do you guys prefer? It's roughly the same. So if we're already patrolling, return. If we're already chasing, I prefer less indentation wherever possible. So we could do this. Just keeps the indentation level sensible, doesn't it? Oops, there you go. All right, just going to look for any other start coroutines that may be going off the mark. Yeah, cool. All right, so let's commit this. Isn't it going to mess up that you stop all coroutines inside those if blocks? Don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't, moving forward, we wouldn't necessarily stop all coroutines. It's not necessarily, it's a bit... Well, we are stopping the coroutines at the wrong time. Let's see if the behavior is correct. It probably is going to mess up. So let's just double check. But we don't want to be like blindly stopping all coroutines. What we might do is get a handle to the coroutines. Let's go and find somebody. Let's get a reproduction condition on it.
Okay, you ugly old prune. Hand over your money. I've got a family to feed.
Well, my friend,
No, it's
I
okay.
say, you're on the right path to the village.
It's because the state changes. That's why it's okay. We don't want to be layering coroutines and coroutines again. So specifically for outside chase ring, state already patrols, stop all coroutines because state is patrolling, exit before starting it again. Specifically for outside chase ring, if state is already patrol, stop all coroutines because state is patrolling. Yeah, I mean, let's think this through a little bit, right? So if you're outside the guy's chase ring, should you stop all coroutines? Really, you should be stopping the chase coroutine, wherever that is, the chase player coroutine. That'd be a lot more specific. So when we start a chase player coroutine, it's much more easy to reason about if when we start this chase player, we keep a handle to it as a local variable here, and then we stop the coroutines we want to stop, rather than just stopping all coroutines. But the thing is that I think it's behaving all right, so it's difficult to fix or reason about if the behavior is still fine. So look. Basically, the code needs to be cleaner. If we can't see immediately it's going to work right, we need to work on it. But let's just check that this guy does what he's supposed to do, which is to stand there idle,
Okay,
come
you
and chase me.
ugly
Is he going to hit me
old
and attack me?
prune. Hand over your money. I've got a family to feed.
No. Oh yes.
Oh.
And then he chases me. He's got a small chase radius, this guy. If any. No, I think that you're right. I think this is the bit where he is stopping all coroutines. Okay. So let's make this read more nicely. What does this update do? It finds the distance of the player, gets the weapon system, gets the max attack range, which we could just do as a function if we wanted to. We could just extract a... No, because it's returning a weapon system. I don't like that. Okay. So it finds out if the distance of the player is less than the current weapon range. It's in the chase ring if, I don't like the look of this at all, the distance of the current player is greater than the weapon range and the distance of the player is less than the chase radius. Yeah, maybe. I don't really like the way that's laid out. And if outside the chase ring, okay, so that defines what the different Boolean conditions are. That's okay. So if you're outside the chase ring, yeah, you do want to stop all coroutines. What's wrong with that? State is already patrol, stop already coroutine. What's wrong if he's outside the chase ring of just stopping all the coroutines? I don't see any problem with that, because the coroutines only patrol or chase. Not sure where the attacking's happening, of course. You just attack on every frame. Oh, because you're saying they're not going back to patrolling. Okay, so I've got two options here. Either rejig this logic so that it makes more sense, possibly extracting these into methods, or we keep the handle of the coroutines that we're starting so that we can specifically stop things we want to stop. Yeah, exactly. So at the moment we're stopping all coroutines. I don't really like stop all coroutines. It's quite hard to reason about, because the moment you see stop all coroutines, you've got to think what coroutines are getting stopped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep some state up here, and while we're here, as I'm touching the header, let's type mv header. Oh, where did that go? So I got my text expander working. Is it code header? It's code header now. Let's remind myself that we do messages, then public methods, then private methods down here. Let's remind myself that these things here are parameters, which is roughly in the right order. What are these things? Well, this stuff is state at the bottom here, so I'm going to put that under state. We don't have any constants, but if we did, they would be there. These are cached references for readability. Oops, these things here. And then there are no constants. Yes, there are. The enum, the state enum is a constant. So, okay, that's just a simple refactor. So now I think what we're going to do is we are going to keep some state is the coroutines. This is hidden state in this class, which is confusing. Only change things when the state changes and end the coroutines associated with the old state starting to... Yeah, exactly. So what I want to do is I want to keep track of these coroutines. So I'm going to go IEnumerator, could do these in 2 on 1 line, and I'm going to say patrol coroutine, and I'm going to say chase coroutine. Like that. And then now that we've got these handles available, what we can do is when we start the coroutine patrol, we just say patrol coroutine, easy if I had a space so the autocomplete works, equals that. So now, oops, if I can type straight, which I'm struggling to do in the heat, and then we want to have a chase coroutine here. Equals that. And the start coroutine returns a coroutine. Oh, it may do. It may well do. well, let's just go var test. I'm pretty sure it does return a coroutine, you're right. Yep, coroutine. I don't know why I was doing IEnumerator, you're quite right. It's okay. All I need to do is just change the type in the instance variable. It reads better anyway. Coroutine, patrol coroutine, and chase coroutine. Don't really like having the name, the name, the type in the name. But patrol, I could call it patrol handle. But I'm not. Couldn't patrol coroutine handler be even clearer? Let's just call them handles for now. It's a handle to keep hold of those things. Chase handle. Okay. So if you're outside the chase ring, then we don't want to stop all coroutines, but what we want to do is stop coroutine, chase handle. Then you want to stop attacking, which arguably could be a coroutine as well. If the state is already patrolling, you're done. Otherwise, start patrolling. That sound right? If you're in the chase ring, then you want to stop coroutine patrolling. You want to stop attacking. You want to chase. If you're not already chasing, you want to chase. And otherwise, if you're in the weapon circle, then you want to stop whatever you're doing and attack. That probably makes sense. Let's try that. Oh, am I getting routine as null? What am I doing there? And then I will take Twitch Perceptual's suggestion here in a second. Routine is null. Yes, okay, so what we're getting here is exactly what Perceptual has predicted, which is that we are caching these coroutine handles but not keeping good enough check on whether they're actually set before we try stopping them. So what you're suggesting is only stop the coroutines if the state changes. Yeah, but so how are we going to do this without making the code more complicated than we need to? If we go back and think, what were we trying to do here? We were just trying to not restart coroutines and layer coroutines on top of each other. That was the problem. So I put some code in that prevented you from restarting coroutines all the time, but that meant that the chasing wasn't working properly. It feels like this whole update method is doing too much anyway. So, and it feels like I don't want to be caching these coroutine handles because it just causes extra confusion that we don't need. Yeah, we can get, yes, we can. We can start checking for nulls and stuff, but the whole thing feels inelegant right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stash, because we've done very little of any use right here at this stage. This feels like I'm going down a slightly blind alley. What I do specifically, and I'm going to get myself a new goal. We performed a basic performance profile, and I want to go back now. I want to stash and say, well, okay, squirrel by coroutines. We do want to do something about these coroutines. That was one of the biggest time spenders, but I want to be specific about what I'm trying to do in this commit. So I've gone back. Let's just check the game runs, and I'll make a new commit that says, stop repeatedly starting coroutines, basically. It's a specific goal. And then let's get that goal done. So let's test the behavior now. Yeah. We could just move the stop all coroutines down. But I want to do that as just a single step in its own right and not...
Okay, you ugly old prune. Hand over your money. I've got a family to feed.
Just checking it works before we start.
Well then, friend, I say. Well, on the right path to the village. You're on the right path to the village.
Dude, your chase radius is huge. We're going to go back to your patrolling. This dude is not seem to be going back to patrolling. I'm just going to have a look at him. What's in here? Why are you not patrolling now? Debug mode, let's have a look. He is patrolling. Is it because he can't find a path? His waypoint stuffed up. What's wrong with you, little man? Ah, he had no patrol path anyway, I think. Yeah, he has no patrol path. Okay, that's fair enough. He's back in the right state. I just wanted to check that. So back to this code. Now, I still think this does too much. So let's just tidy it up a little so it's really easy for everybody to read, like so. And then let's... Can I get these booleans out in a single extract? Let's just have a look. What do we get if we extract? No, get a horrible bunch of out parameters. We don't want that. So I think what you guys you're saying is if state equals state, so chase ring. Oh, I think my brain's turned off now at this time of day. I'm not sure where it's gone. If we're not already patrolling, then stop all the existing coroutines and then start patrolling. Is that the sort of thing you're talking about? Else do nothing. Same here. If state not equal to state dot chasing, then stop all coroutines and start chasing. Is that more the sort of thing you guys want to see? Let's test the behavior. If it works, I'll refactor because the update's got too big, and then I think we're in good shape. Presume they're yays. And we'll also just check the performance in a second.
Okay, you ugly old prune. Hand over your money. I've got a family
Getting
to
funny
feed.
sound effects. I'm not hearing these sound effects. What's up with my audio routing? Unity Hub is defaulting to normal output. Are my internal speakers super? There you go. There you go. Dude. Okay, how's that? Should be able to hear my own sound now. Oh, it's because the default audio device has changed. Don't forget to remove the other stop lines. Which other stop lines? You can hear me but not the game. I'm not sure it really matters if we can hear the game, to be honest. Ah, yes, of course. You mean I should be moving the lines I plan to move rather than deleting the ones? Yes, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, just made a little boo-boo. Okay, let's take a look at the performance profiling, and then I'm going to do a little tiny bit of refactoring, really noddy extracting of methods, and then we will move on. .17 of a millisecond. Yeah, better. Enemy AI update, look at that, it's down to 0.27. Good, that's better. So that's the sort of thing you can do when you get anywhere near any performance problems. Obvious kind of rookie error in the code there in the previous iteration of it. I think what we can do now is, if you're outside the chase ring, what we want to do is patrol. Passing through the weapon system, unfortunately, seems to be required. I think that you almost want to cache this weapon system as a state variable. Where else do we have a weapon system? Only inside this method? No, also here, patrolling is taking through a weapon system. Is it valid state of a enemy AI to have a weapon system? I think it is. I think that we cache the weapon system here, and then we can make life a little bit easier. So we're just going to say weapon system, weapon system. We're going to cache that as a reference up here with these guys. Boom, like so. Going to take away the declaration there. Weapon system now does exist in the current context, go away. That means that when I extract patrol, we don't need to pass in a weapon system to patrol, which is simpler. And it also means enemy AI.patrol. Yeah, okay, so this is a start patrol, this one. Or switch to patrolling. Start patrol. Start patrol is fine. Okay, same with if you're in the chase ring, what are we doing? We're extracting. We are start chase. And if you're in the weapons circle, you start attack. That's what I wanted to get to. Okay, looks better, right? So now this method is a little bit more tractable. So if you're outside the chase ring, start patrolling. If you're inside the chase ring, start chasing. And if you're in the weapon circle, start attacking in that order. This stuff's all just about calculating distances. And we've promoted the weapon system to an instance variable because we believe that it's worth it because it's used quite a lot through the class. Okay, cool. I'm good with that. Let's check the behavior and then go. Wouldn't these 3 balls count as state? Not really, because they are local only to the update here. You mean these in chase ring, these things, are they state? They're pretty cheap to derive, and they're not. They are sort of state, but why would we keep it as state? I don't. The point is, if I was to double click on them, if I made them state variables, they wouldn't be used particularly widely through the class, like some of these guys aren't, to be honest. I'm not sure we're picking all the best state variables, but wouldn't it make the code so much easier converting these 3 booleans to a state, compared against the previous state, and use switches to start, stop? Maybe. I'm not sure it'd make it much easier. Okay. As an aside, a lot of issues of to cache or to get each time disappear with the power of ECS. Yes, ECS we need to look at. Yeah, there's lots of refinements we could make here, guys, but this reads okay. And we can keep disappearing around in circles, and particularly given Agent Unknown's perspective here about at some point we're going to have to dig into ECS and find out how that's going to work and what that's going to do with state. I think that I will leave it for now, but I'm going to check the behavior and move on, because all we were trying to do is a quick performance profile and then move on. I don't want to get squirreled too much. We're not adding functionality. The frame rate of the game is already good. The code standard of the whole game is a little bit low at the moment anyway compared to where I want it to be. So there's no point in over-polishing this class when there are bigger fish to fry, right? It's a question of doing it all in order. So it's often a question of saying, I know it could be better, let's let go of it for now. That's the thing that I want to get out there. Otherwise, you just get squirreled and we'll never make the progress that you want to be making on your game. And that's really quite important. This guy's still chasing me. I would have thought I was outside of his chase ring by now. No, he's not. That's good. He was just routing to another point on the map. All right, I think that hasn't changed the behavior. I hope it hasn't. Let's commit. Man, it's hot. Okay. Yeah, there was a huge change in the performance profile at Agent Unknown after that. It went from 1 point something milliseconds down to a fraction of a millisecond. So yes, there was a big change in the performance profile. So worth doing. And I didn't notice, drilling down from the top, anything else that was sufficiently costly, by which I mean more than a millisecond of non-rendering time, that I can be bothered to be dealing with it right now, because we've got bigger fish to fry. Hopefully that makes sense. How are we doing for time? 7:30. Wow, 7:30? When did I start this stream? I started this stream at 5 or 6? 6, okay. Yeah. If you're a Unity Plus or above subscriber, you can get access to private live sessions. Are you, Perceptual, is that you trying to sell our tier 3 for us? No. What is Unity Plus? Private live sessions, you mean with Unity's offerings? Yeah, I'm with you. Hello, thank you for the follow. That's cool. Right, what next? What else did we say we were going to do in this stream? So do some performance profiling and add our next feature. All right, let's add another feature and then leave it at that for the day. So where are we feature-wise? We have had a good look at the dependencies. We've understood them. We've mapped them out. They're in a folder here. They're very simple at the moment, but they're only simple because we've made them simple because we removed some circular dependencies and from two-way dependencies. We have had a quick look at the performance profile, identified the single slowest thing that was over a millisecond of budget. I mean, if you do the calculations, if you want a game that runs at 60 frames a second, then 1 divided by 60 times 1,000, that's 16.7 milliseconds of budget. If you want to run at 60 frames a second, obviously it's 30 milliseconds if you want to run at 30 frames a second. So if you say you've got a total game budget of something like 15, then you're going to run at 60 frames a second or higher. If we had one single script, just the AI patrol that was taking 1.6 milliseconds, that's a lot of budget. Obviously it depends on the machine in question. It's all hardware dependent. This is not a hardware independent way of looking at things. But it's on this machine, which is very much a mid-spec gaming PC of these by today's standards. Even though it's a Mac, it's a GTX 1050 type of standard. So you've got to take that into account. It's a Radeon Pro 580. I think that's GTX 1050 type area. It's reasonable to say that we want less than a millisecond on the script. So we did that, we ran the performance profiler, we ignored the render threads for the moment and said what scripts are taking a long time. We found an obvious mistake in the logic, which is we're restarting coroutines on top of each other again and again and again, which you couldn't see in the behavior because they were just layering on top of each other, but it was slowing things down horrendously. You could see that very clearly in the performance profiler about 15 minutes ago, probably in this stream. And yeah, that's what happened. So where are we? What is the least interesting thing about this game? Now, you're very welcome to say in the chat, we've got quite a few different quest types. I know that we haven't finished all of the quest types. Let me open the quest completion script because that is where I've stored the different quest types to consider. Why did you just collapse yourself down? There you go. Delivery. We said that will be after inventory, but maybe we can mock that up now. So if we want a delivery quest type, then we need to be able to take something that we have and drop it somewhere. We haven't got that quest type at all because we haven't got inventory. We really need some basic inventory next. So if you guys are down, we should start thinking about basic inventory together. What is that, Avi? The smash the router. Does that mean my stream's gone down? Doesn't look like it. Oh, you're now hosting me. Thank you. For up to 3 viewers. Awesome. That's gonna help. I'm down. Roll with it. Just saying hi, Avi. Okay, cool. I'm down. Roll with inventory. Oh, okay. So 5-minute break, I think, and then I'll be back to start inventory, conceptualize inventory, get it off the ground, and then there'll be a little break till I'm back from the States. With 2 potential but 0 actual viewers. Bindi, the partnership with you is amazing. This is driving our channel forward. Hey Terra Vice, how are you doing? Good to see you. Can you tell me why it's still so hot? No. Which one of you guys is in Cambridge in the science park? One of you guys is. I can't quite remember. I don't think it's any of... We could do a Boolean to say whether we have or have not a quest item. Bryant, you're quite right. I'm in Cambridge in the Science Park. Hey, good to see you. Why don't you come and see us sometime, Vanji? Why don't you send me a Twitch whisper and come and see us after the 1st of August when I'm back, and come down here for one of these streams if you're interested in the RPG, and come and stand right next to me, say hello to the community, and meet us in person and be part of it. Do you fancy doing that? If you do, send me a whisper. We'll organise it. It would be really fun to do that. So you'll be very welcome. Just drop me a whisper. We'll organise it. Or email Lucy at GameDev.tv. Oh, Twitch channel has whispers turned off. Okay, so thanks, Mark, for telling me that. Well, then email Lucy at GameDev.tv. Tell her I said it's okay, and that we would like you to come down and physically see us. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, go and think about inventory for a few minutes, and I will be back. So I think I'll play the game with some sound. Back in a few minutes. Won't be long for a last push. Okay, quick catch up on the chat. How are we doing? Bindi, is that a cheer there? Is this a single cheer? Cool if it is. Wow, lots of chat. Wow, okay, lots of chat. Let me sort the chat out. What a lot of fun. Here we go. Okay, so there's Lucy's email. Ben's gone, let's riot. Okay, do me a favour. When you meet Ben, shake his hand for me and say thanks. He'll know why. Thanks for what? Okay. The only one who finds the tilted head things annoying. Okay. Those would be they. Cheers. I'm about 190 southwest of you guys in Newbury, Berkshire. Cool. Be nice to see you, Irresistible Jelly, when we come down that way-ish. We're driving from here to Devon, and we're doing that, I'll tell you when, in August. We'll be driving down. If you want to meet up with us, I'll tell you, just drop me an email or something, but August sometime. The heads are tilted because of the pixel height limit. Yeah, if it's really annoying, we could do something about it. Mikey's and Lucy's heads are smaller. Which do you prefer, guys? The fully zoomed in heads or the not fully zoomed in heads? Let us know and we will standardize them. Needs a Godot emote also. We could probably get away with a Godot emote. We can't get away necessarily with the big commercial non-open source things because they might get upset with us for using those as emotes. But a Godot emote is not a bad idea. Let's think about that. We could ask for forgiveness with Unity and Unreal, or I could actually literally ask for permission. Okay, cool. So you guys are then talking, having a little bit of a Twitch chat, which is cool. Oh, what's this in my jar? We have a Bindi little girl thingy in the jar. That's fun. All right. What am I doing? Inventory. So somebody's suggestion. I'm sorry that I forget who it was. There's lots of balls, but one of you guys suggested a moment ago that we mock up the idea of a delivery quest with a boolean inside what? The character, presumably. We could do that. We could do that. Or we already actually have an inventory class. So let's go see what we've got. We're going to try and do a mocked up delivery quest, right? And see how that works. Where did we put inventory? Player inventory. Cheers for the cheers. Cool. Good fun. So, yeah, let's just do this for the moment. Ball has gather. Is it gather quest we need to do next? Guys, you need to be a bit quieter. Time to jump on the trampoline and make an absolute racket. Give them a second. It's just the little one. It's always the little one. Okay, so we were going to try and do a gather quest. Let's see if we can do that. So delivery. So we've done gather. We have mocked up gather. Let's mock up delivery. So as a temporary on the player inventory, we're going to say has delivery item. And we'll just say true for the moment. We'll just assume we have the delivery item and that it's something that you already have on you that triggers the quest that you then go and drop somewhere else. So to do, go from mock to real. Terrifies your daughter was crying in the background. Yeah, well, kids, unpredictable, right? I won't be too long on the stream, so I won't be ruining their trampoline fun for too long. All right, so good idea there. We have delivery item as a mock there. I'm going to make up the new quest type and keep stressing this ridiculous architecture. So we're going to create a C# script. Here we go. It's going to be called, because I just like to finish off all these top level types, right? Delivery or deliver. Okay, it's going to inherit from the right thing. Last week, the mentor's daughter was crying. Indeed, Bindi, what is anyone who plays MMOs or other group games with voice expects kids at some point. Yeah, I'm sure that is the case. Thank you for being forgiving. Deliver. Let's inherit from quest completion because that's how we do things here. namespace. Characters, no longer quests. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Boom. Okay, no start and update. Okay, let's start by setting up the quest. By the way, I haven't got a commit or a pre-commit as to what I'm doing, so not a good idea. We are going to mock out gather delivery quest. Okay, cool, good idea. Used to play MUDs, kids are laughing, mind you're screaming, at least the kids are laughing. Yep, that's true. Oh, I feel a bit guilty that they can't play on the trampoline, but that's okay. We'll get this done and we'll go. So let's start the beginning of the quest, which is deliver. Let's create a new thing, gather the cube. Let's make a new type of quest, a empty child called deliver the thing. Okay, so it's a quest. It's available. Oh, we could have some reward coin, 1,000. Why not? Pretty cool. That works. Now, we need to have a quest giver. For the moment, that's just the way we roll. So let's, have I got my fingers in the wrong place? Yeah, that'll explain it. Let's take this dude, duplicate him. Call him slightly dodgily, deliver for me. Boom. So his quest is going to be, well, firstly, is he going to have a different conversation? He probably ought to. Probably ought to. It's so easy to make a conversation. At the moment, in our ridiculously rudimentary conversation thing. This is go get. And then, you know, or no, I'm not going to start with oi. Go drop that there thing over there, mate. And player's response, can you be more specific? Okay, cool. So he says, go drop that there thing over there, mate. This is the deliver for me guy. So his conversation is go get. His quest is deliver the thing. Oh, what happened there? Bindi just subscribed with tier 3. Hello, Bindi. Welcome to tier 3. We're going to have to update our subscriber page now to reflect that. Woot. Welcome to the tier 3 club. Hey, big loves. It's only for a month, but I can do it for now. Awesome. So we'll make sure we make good use of it. Tomorrow evening, you're welcome to join us. If you are there, well, if you're there and there's too many of you, i.e. Twitch Dog and Terrorvice and other people are, other tier 3s are on there. Oh, sorry, who is it? It's not Twitch Dog. It's Terrorvice and Jason Lee Dev. If those guys are there already on voice and ready to go, but you're there too, Bindi, on Zoom, and I'll give you the Zoom room in a moment, or the other guys can give you the Zoom room via a whisper, then you'll get priority for the first slot because you're new. And then as we get more people, it'll go to more of a lottery. But right now, there's plenty of people available. Zero code is fine, but just coming and talking and sharing your games and your experience and all that will help you move forward. So that's cool. All right, so quest, deliver the thing. The quest is deliver the thing. Yes, the canvas and the speech bubble are all good to go. So where is this dude? Is he on? I think he's coincident with this other guy. Yeah, he is. Let's have a look. Wah, wah. Go drop that there thing over there, mate. Your reply, can you be more specific? Deliver the thing is active. Cool. So where's the place? Where are we going to drop the thing? Well, in the corner of the pen. How's that? So in the corner of the pen here, which is in the environment, in the Meadows section, we want to create an empty game object. Did not end up in the Meadows section. That often happens. Let's just drop it here. There. Go. Deliver zone. Boom. Let's add a component which is a box collider. That's cool. Now I should scale it up. Bit of Y, bit of Z, bit of a Y equals 0 going on with it. Bring it over, bring it out the floor. There you are. Anywhere in this corner here will do. Gone a bit crazy on one of the dimensions, haven't I? X equals 12 is a bit mad. Zome? What's a zome? It's like a zone with an M. Cool. So there's the delivery zone. Now, it's a collision based, but again, we're not going to re-centralize the code. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to put on this deliver zone the deliver script, like so. This collider is going to be a trigger collider. The quest we're going to complete is go to deliver the thing, and then we're going to write some custom code again, and soon we might want to centralize this code. But it's going to be a limited number of quests. So that's the other decision here, is if there's a limited number and we know we're not going to keep adding them, again, you also don't need to go too mad. A deliver thing is a bit like a trigger one. So we may as well borrow this. We could rely on it. We could make, have to have two components, and we could say that a deliver quest depends on a trigger quest, but why not keep things simple for the moment? Not from quest. So, okay, so when you hit something, you don't just complete the quest. So if we, what am I doing? Pasting a class into a class. What a load of rubbish, Ben. Oops. Oi. What I want to do is come back. There you go. So when we hit something, and it probably shouldn't be private, this is a message, right? It's telling us, get rid of that. On trigger enter, and it may not be the only way of doing them. So let's to-do, consider, oops, not that many to do. 3 forward slashes does that weird thing in my IDE. To do, consider other completion criteria with Rick. Okay. Now we need to, this fundamentally needs to know something about the character's inventory. So when we actually have a trigger with this, we need to go in a null pointer, in a null safe way, say, hey, did the thing that I hit have the thing that we're supposed to have? So on trigger enter, we, I don't really like method names that have ifs in them, so if, and we'll make a method that says player has required object. If the player has the required object, and we could here say to do allow to specify required object, but not for the moment. If the player has the required object, then we are going to complete quest, which is a superclass method call. So then the whole work becomes to create, if this bool player has required object, which should be quite simple. You should say, now we're going to need to actually pass through what we collide with. So the first thing is we ought to decide whether it's the player. So if other dot get component player control, or if the thing that we collided with isn't the player, we'll return. How's that as an option? So if we're not hitting the player, return. Otherwise, let's just make sure this all works. Print hit player, or player in zone. Just check our code works, and then we'll worry about whether you have the required object, and then we'll go from there. Okay, let's check it how it works. What do we got? Isn't the default access modifier private? Yes, it is. What I'm saying is that I don't put private in front of things that are messages, because I want it to be conspicuous that this is a message. Conspicuous, this is a private method, and then public, we want it to be conspicuous, it's a public method that we've written. It's just a convention I have. Squeak, squeak. Let's mute the audio. Let's go get the quest. Go drop that thing over there. Keep an eye on the console. Get into the zone. Player in zone, implemented exception, which is exactly what we want. Good. So we are down to here. You see, just that little thing there just gives you a bit of confidence you're going down the right route. Now, does the player have the desired object? Well, now that we know we're dealing with a not player, we can say, okay, I don't mind doing this again in this instance. So we're going to need to pass through the other. No, I don't like that. I think I want to do a bit more work in the calling method. I think what I want to say is player control equals other.get component player control. That will end up null if he isn't. So then you say if not player control, return. Otherwise, player has required object, and then pass through the player. Yeah, you just pass the player through. That's cool. Player control's a bit of a weird class name. Now, that should be fine. Just check it still works with that slight refactor. It will, but just null handling is always good fun. Never managed to get in context with who? Irresistible Jelly. Is that me? Probably. Not implemented exception, sure. Yeah, and I got rid of the log sign. Good. All right, so now, once we have the player here, what we want to say is if player dot get component inventory dot, and then what do we do in our inventory? Let's write the getter now. Let's say public void, and we might want to embellish this with a parameter later, but is player carrying, and then later we will want to do pass parameter. Public bool is player carrying, and we could just return true, to be honest, for now, or return has delivery item. And that reminds us that later we're going to need to change this in at least 2 different places. Okay, so back to the quest completion, which is a delivery. Bool player is carrying delivery item or special item, something like that. If player is carrying special item, we're going to complete quest. All right. What's wrong here? Nothing. That will return pass containing the value. That's because it should be void. Okay, now on the player, let's go look at the player. Let's have a look and see where we get to change this state and mess around with this player. I'm going to make this, what's wrong with this? Player has, oh. Complete rubbish I'm writing here. That's what I wanted to return. Dull. Thank you for the dull. It shows I'm getting to the point where the heat is overwhelming me and I want to go and chill with the family. So we'll be doing that in a moment. Okay, so player control, player inventory. What I'm going to do on the player inventory temporarily is just make this a serialized field, so that we can just toggle it on and off. It's bound to work, but this puts the bones of the architecture in place, right? So now I can go and look at the player, and we can do this in 2 cases. We can say, okay, here's the player. In a moment, we're going to say, has delivery item? No. So if I don't have the delivery, oh, should I even be allowed to? No, I shouldn't even be allowed to get the quest. That'll be our next thing in the next stream. For now, I've got the quest. I try and deliver the thing. What happens when I haven't got the delivery item and I try and deliver the thing? Well, nothing. Okay, and then if suddenly and I go in there, I've got to go out the box and in the box, and it completes the quest. Awesome. All right, I think that'll do. I'll just take some questions at the end. I'm going to do a to-do as well, which is on the quest completion. We want to, oh, it's not even on the quest completion, it's on the quest issue. The quest shouldn't even be available until, so it's about the deliver quest. I've got another to do here. To do quest not available until player has special item. Okay, that's a possibility. Cool, that would be fun. We'll do that in a future stream. Let's close this down. Let's commit what we've done, which is mock out delivery quest, which we have done. I've met all the goals of the stream. Might not be the time to go into those trees. Yeah, maybe not. Awesome. So we made some pretty good progress today. I hope you're happy with that. Felt a bit slow to me. I think the heat's getting to me, but at least we've moved the project forward. Let's actually just do a bit of a very brief meta-analysis of how far forward we've got. Then I'll run the end of stream checklist to just remind you of what's coming up next. And then we will go from there. So what do we have? We have, firstly, let's count. Did we actually add much? Stream 10. What I do is I copy the SHA. I'm going to put this into the GitHub terminal. So it's going to be that's my command. You can work that out for yourselves, what you need to change. You basically need to change the SHA of what I put in the chat if you want to do this sort of thing. It compares the head up here, well, the top of the history to that, because that's the SHA I collected. Place that into the terminal, the whole thing into the terminal. Boom, and it tells me what happened. 8, really, in that time. 171 insertions. Do I believe that audio trigger? No, it's not tracking properly because of all the changes we made, I believe. So, okay, ignore that. Not very useful today because we made too many. It's the namespace changes have confused the tracking of how much we did. Okay, so what do we have next then? The next stream in this series will be, as I said at the beginning of the stream, on the 2 p.m., a little bit earlier than this one, on the 2nd of August. So that's that. The next stream on the channel altogether is the Meet the Mentors tomorrow. Congratulations to our brand new Meet the Mentor subscriber. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Really very excited, Bindi. So Bindi, we'll see you hopefully tomorrow on there. Bindi, I will send you a whisper in a moment via Twitch, which tells you how to get here. Also be good, Bindi, if you can send me a whisper, then I can email you with an email address. It's easier for me to email you instructions as to how to get in. So that's cool. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. I will go and update the subscribers page now as well to reflect Bindi and our other team. Linking back to your Twitch pages. So guys, you're all awesome. Thanks for yet another good stream. And yeah, cool. It'll be Sam taking this over before too long when he's finished Unreal VR. Then I'll be on to exciting other things. Then you have 2 loads of streams that you can compete for, but they won't be on at the same time, of course. We're not at the situation where we need multiple channels yet. So thanks for being here, and I will see you next time we do this Twitch stuff, which is tomorrow afternoon. Okay, see you guys.